was fast.
Man, that was fast.
Jingle was back. I was immediately killed.
That was bloody.
It's better to err on the side of telling the truth at all costs.
Yeah. So.
I have been spared. Good luck, have fun.
I was wondering what your take was on the whole deception element of the game and playing it with the, like, deception is part of warfare and that kind of thing.
Right. The commandment is against false testimony. But then on the other hand, Satan is the father of lies. So lies are not a good in themselves, but it is significant that the 10th commandment is about bearing false witness in a certain setting, a legal setting.
Okay, Mr. Potato, why are you following me everywhere? You are freaking me out.
Hey, don't be so skittish.
What?
You
sound like you're smart.
okay? So it's Mr. Potato was following me around the entire round from when we left the dropship into weapons, didn't do anything, didn't do any tasks, nothing, and then he went to the office, and then he sits by upload before doing any download.
That is pretty sus, Jingle, but I have to say, you always follow me, and then we come back into a meeting, and you're like, I want to feel safe.
So either Lance, Jingle,
I follow you around in a much, like, I won't follow you, like, across the entire map when you're just running across open space. I have tasks to do. He was just following me and, like, going into really weird places whenever we entered rooms, like, not doing tasks or anything. It was so sus.
Hey, don't be scared.
After we skip this vote, I really hope Potato kills you.
If we find your body, we'll know it's Potato. There. If you're happy, we can move on.
Ashes to ashes.
I'm so
So
scared.
now the
Protect me from the potato.
kill Jingle.
I think a lot changes depending on the setting. So the Hebrew midwives were justified. You can lie to your enemies in war. You can deceive your enemies. You can fake left and go right, all that stuff. But games create a mini atmosphere where you can train and play at certain things. Competitive games are mock warfare, mock competition. So I think within that, you have an opportunity to practice and play at things that you would not do among the righteous. That's it in a nutshell.
Right. I mean, I don't know. That tends to make sense to me, as well as the parable that Jesus gives about how those of the world are more clever amongst their own kind than we are amongst ours. In that the parable of the manager, the property manager that was going to found out he was going to get busted and cut a bunch of debts off of people's of what they owed him in order to cushion himself, in the future. And that's just kind of saying, he then says they're wiser among their own kind than we are. And I kind of think about the fact that a lot of Christians, it seems to me, run into what I tend to run into, which is almost like a soft legalism, where you're like, well, I can't do this, like the kind of, if an assailant attacked my wife, turn the other cheek, how do I apply that? They have a conundrum with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas complex moral reasoning is demonstrated in the Bible in several points, like you mentioned. And you have to apply these principles in really nasty situations in the world for,
Yeah, I mean,
in a
the
more
soft... Sorry.
pragmatic way, in a sense, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the soft legalism you mentioned. I mean, it's in a way that's pietism, as you can get caught up in trying to observe certain rules, as opposed to trying to be just, right? And we're supposed to be as wise as serpents. So, I think that example that you gave is a great one, with the property manager. We end up actually deceiving ourselves. Like, for example, I mean, is it a lie to pretend to be happy with my wife when she's actually really just made me mad? Or is it wise? Am I being as wise as a serpent? Is it actually better for me? Is that the only way for me to get to patience? Do I have the objectivity to know if I'm wrong or right? But there are some people who would say, no, you need to say what you feel, and that's what's honest. All right, I'm gonna start the game. We can meditate upon this as I murder you all.
Here's a question then. But if being honest induces hate and rage, is that biblically correct?
It depends, I think, on who the hate and rage is from. I think so many things are more relational, and the good or bad of them is relational. Ultimately, like your relationship to God, God is a person, right? But if you're enraging the wicked, then that's great, and the truth often enrages the wicked. But just because something makes somebody mad doesn't make it good or bad.
I definitely think that's true, and I think that just because somebody responds poorly to what you said doesn't mean that you didn't play a part in it. Like, you can say the truth and do it in a way that's more damaging than perhaps you could, but I think that in our culture, it's better to err on the side of telling the truth at all costs.
Yeah.
Kitty, Giant, which one of you did it?
I am.
It wasn't me.
I saw Kitty do it.
Okay,
I
that's
thought it
Kitty.
was Mr. Potato. I thought Mr. Potato was sus. What about that?
Well, now we know it's supposed to.
So wait, who said they saw? Sorry, smoking my pipe. Who said they saw Ninja Kitty?
Voting Ninja.
I said I saw Ninja Kitty because I was standing on the stack with Sneaky Boy, Jingle, Giant, and Kitty at the door to electrical. The door opened.
I had just gotten there.
Jingle, Jingle and Sneaky Boy. Look, Jingle and Sneaky Boy were Jingle and somebody else were running into the room already. It was a Giant standing kind of far away from Ducky, and then Kitty closest to him, and then I saw him fall over. So I was like, I just kind of assumed it was the closer one.
I'm currently in the interface of flipping the switches, so I did not see who killed it.
It's Kitty.
Well, it's too late now. Everyone's voted.
Yeah, I think we all voted for Jingle.
Yet again, an innocent person.
Mr. Potato is going after Jingle.
Being sus here, Mr. Potato.
I really have because you.
Because truth is going to cause collateral damage. It just does. So.
Yeah. Well, and lying causes collateral damage too. I mean, this even raises a question of white lies. Like, do you tell someone that their outfit looks as horrible as it looks? And sometimes you don't. I don't know.
My father was an officer in the U.S. Army Military Intelligence. I learned dirty tricks, backstabbing, and black ops from his knee.
No.
Shall we assume his no was a lament that he was caught?
That's funny. No,
Where is the body? Because I'm on Mr. Potato. Where's the body, Shaggy?
I learned dirty tricks, backstabbing, and black ops from his knee.
That's scary.
So what is your take? Yeah.
Stab you with his knee.
It's very ambiguous at this stage.
Exactly.
Wait a second. You're being ambiguous on purpose?
I'm very ambiguous in it because I know a lot of times where it was absolutely necessary and absolutely morally wrong.
But then, was it necessary? And you're sure that it was necessary?
Yes.
Like, necessary by what standard? Because I admit that is hard for me. Like, morally complex, but like if it's absolutely morally wrong, like the atom bomb's an example. That's one I have difficulty with because of all the complexity. But go on.
That one's very easy for me.
Okay.
I think everybody becomes a utilitarian when the numbers get big enough, and I think we just need to accept that if you were to say, hey, would you kill one person to save 10? A lot of people would say no. If you said kill one person to save 100, you'd have some waiver. When you get up to about the 1,000 or 10,000 number, you're going to have people who are pretty much going to say, it doesn't matter how much I commit to the principle. It seems like, you end up at the utilitarian calculus of, well, killing some to save more. That's the argument behind the atom bomb. That's the argument behind a lot of actions taken. And so once we accept that that's reality, we can, I guess, from there, we can discuss whether or not that should be, but I don't know a single person who has said, yeah, no, one for 1 million people, I would still not do it. Like, most people at that point to the cave.
What if it's the reverse? You could have killed one person that would have saved 1 million, but you didn't because there was the potential that having not killed them, you saved 2.
I'm on Mr. Potato. Where's the body, Shaggy?
Okay, so you and me were running together, and I saw you split up Mr. Potato.
Yeah.
I went north from where y'all were. I think Potato got Sneaky Boy right by the node, right just north of the lava.
Where were you?
I didn't see where Potato came from, and I came up from the south of Giant.
Where were you coming from, Potato?
I mean, I'm more than down to kill potatoes, so.
Alright, Jingle, Desert, listen here. What's going on here is Giant and Shy G are the imposters, and they're teaming up. Giant was trying to chase me down, and Shy G was covering for him, so I suggest everyone withdraw their vote.
Okay, so
it wasn't Kitty, Kill and Lights had to be Giant.
Got it.
So I mean,
Let's all focus on
Jingle, I have not killed anybody. I have not killed a single person.
do that actually. Oh man.
Giant was chasing me like a lion. I was his zebra. Let's just get Giant.
Chasing you like a lion. There is nothing in that hallway. There's security in numbers, and suddenly you start yelling, "No, no!" Right as the report goes off.
Okay, here's the thing.
Right as the report goes off.
Okay, yeah, but the reason there's numbers is because
You need to vote, dude. It's over.
With you with the numbers. All right, let's either kill Giant or just don't kill me.
Dude, we all knew you were
I
dead.
think it's Shy G.
Fair
It's Shy G.
There you go. Throw me in the toilet plunger.
Having not killed them, you saved 2.
Yeah, this is just like big numbers and more real, like trolley problem. I mean, it's pretty much I guess comes down to the same.
Well, and I think
same discussion underneath it.
I think part of what we have to, what has to be discussed in a conversation like this is actual necessity and what actually is immoral. If for one man to die for another, or for one man to die for 1 million, to give himself up is noble, but to kill that man for that 1 million is not noble. That much we can accept. It may be necessary, but it's not noble. So then we actually have to talk about like what is necessary, but then also like what is good. It may not be necessary. We can accept the death of the 1 million, but there may be circumstances in which, murder is murder. But to actually, there may be circumstances in which I can imagine you could kill someone knowing that it would save 1 million and it would be a just action. Right? But then that starts really spinning out of control. I'm not sure I would be able to do that. I would have that level of certainty, but it's not outside the realm of imagination for me. That a king could say, slay that man, and that will save the lives of 1 million of my subjects.
Well, that's the position of the executioner, right? I mean, the guy who's actually behind that sword that cuts that person's head off that God gave the state, that guy has to deal with that problem, and so does every soldier, right? So we can accept it under certain circumstances, and where I try to drill down on it, and I'm new to this reasoning, I hadn't had a lot of people to talk about it with, is how come we can accept it when it's I know that there's the just war doctrine of the things that must be met before that the church had kind of come together and talked about earlier on.
Data, you left?
But
What?
he left for
It just crashed. Or DZ'd at least.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be back.
It's anyway, my grandfather basically boiled it down because he was Vietnam, had to do like black ops missions that were highly internationally illegal at the time and all that kind of stuff. And he was telling me, he's like, at the end of the day, you have to accept that to put yourself in that position is to enact the role of the arm of God. And you need to treat that with the weight and dignity that deserves, because it just, I mean, we just know that God's servants are held to a higher standard, whatever servant they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, all of us, including those of us who never kill anybody, are going to end up, before God with all of these morally ambiguous and morally complex decisions that we made, committing to one sin in order to avoid another, and we'll be condemned for many of those. And who knows, we may be praised for some of them. It's again, I think we want to avoid pietistic thinking. We want to please God himself as best as we can. And we're going to drench that in blood. I mean, that's just how it is. Mr. Potato, are you ready to start a game? Mr. Potato?
Let's do this thing.
All right, let's.
Potato. All right, let's either kill Giant or just don't kill me.
Dude, we all knew you were
I
dead.
think it's Shai G.
Fair
It's
enough.
Shai G.
There you go. Throw me in the toilet plunger.
I don't know if it matters though.
Whoa! Who called it? I literally called it.
Dude, the only reason you didn't die is that you were not muted. You are a cheater. You are a cheater.
I was really hoping you were going to pop him.
I was going to pop him, and then he started talking.
And to be honest with you, we would have gotten away with it if I hadn't misclicked the report button instead of the vent hole button.
Nice. Well, I couldn't kill him once he started yelling, and with unmuted. He started yelling, no, no. I couldn't kill him.
Honestly, I was sus of purple because he saw so much when the lights were off.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I was
like the
trying to
big
tell you to be
stubble
sus
and
of
electrical.
people. Sus.
You need to be quiet while you're dying next time.
Let's do this thing.
All right, let's.
Potato.
Now I can stop sending Dr. Cat pictures.
I have been spared. Good luck, have fun.